What's going on, guys? It's your boy Neeks reporting from the base, working from home as I have been. So I'm able to still obviously bring you the news within the football world, as much as games and operations have been suspended. There's always going to be news in this world, and the news today is that English Football Premier League, EFL, and the FA have suspended all football until the 30th of April. Yes, football has been suspended until the 30th of April at a bare minimum. Obviously, we know with the spread of this coronavirus, COVID-19, we're in unprecedented, uncharted territories at the moment in the sporting world, in the football world specifically, and as a result, things have to be called to a halt, and they are right to do so because the health of individuals of a nation globally is more important than anything, really, if we're going to be honest. Not just sports, more important than anything. So it's right that it has been suspended, and they've put a date, so there will be no football until before April the 30th at least. But what they have said, and it clears up to an extent some of the discussion we've been having about whether a season should be voided, whether they should decide and stop the season now and decide the winners as we speak, or whether they should continue when the chance arises. And they have put out a statement to say that they have every intention and they aim to complete the 2019-20 season when possible. And I think that is, me personally, as I said on the podcast, I think that's the right decision. I think that's the only fair decision. Anything else is a lot of there's a lot of losers and then some winners within any other decision, whether it's to void or to decide the season as stands. But for me, both of those decisions would ruin and bring the integrity of the game into question, into disrepute. I think the only one that doesn't is to continue the season as is, or when pick up from where we left off. The statement itself reads, we are united in our commitment in finding ways of resuming the 2019-20 football season and ensuring all domestic and European club league and cup matches are played as soon as it is safe and possible to do. We have collectively supported UEFA in postponing Euro 2020 to create space in the calendar to ensure domestic and European club league and matches have an increased opportunity to be played, and in doing so maintain the integrity of each competition. They're saying exactly what I've been saying, the integrity of the sport. If we void the season, so many clubs, people are affected negatively by it, that you have to question, well, I've done all this work, we've signed certain players, we've etc, signed people on contracts, agreed to sell a player, we've planned for this season, we've got 75% through, and now you're going to take it all away. You're basically saying that was null and void. If we decide the season as is, then we're saying, I know you planned for 38 games, but we're going to decide after 29. We're basically changing the rules mid-season. But what they're saying is that the only way to do this integrally, to keep the integrity of the sport, is to continue the season. So the FA rules and regulations state that the season shall terminate not later than the 1st of June, and each competition shall, within the limit laid down by the FA, determine the length of its own playing season. However, the FA's board has agreed for this limit to be extended indefinitely for the 2019-20 season in relation to professional football. So as far as the FA are concerned, if we have to restart the season in November, they're okay with it. If we have to restart the season this time next year, they're okay with it. It's indefinite. As we speak anyway, things can change very rapidly. Says the progress of COVID-19 remains unclear, and we can reassure everyone the health and welfare of the players and staff and supporters are our priority. They talk about the government advice and etc. etc. Now, on a football level, I think that's the best way to do it, and I've explained that in no uncertain terms on multiple occasions. The only thing, and Ramon mentioned it, where you may have an issue now is legally in terms of player contracts. Now, obviously, if a player's on a 2-year, 3-year contract, it shouldn't be an issue. Of course, if you're planning on selling that player in the summer, etc., then this might be slight issues. But, if you move a transfer window forward and you might have a truncated 2021 season, that it can still work. The issue becomes if players are out of contract this year, because those contracts usually run until the 30th of June, and as of the 1st of July, they are no longer employees of that club if a contract hasn't been signed, and they can sign for another club. Now, if the season doesn't resume by then, or if it does resume but it runs over into July, what happens to that player's contract? Is that player no longer in the team, in the club? Has his contract expired? If, for example, we restart in November, all those players on free transfers, if their contract hasn't been renewed for the next season or whatever it may be, are they no longer playing in the 2019-20 season, even though they had a contract spanning the dates of that season, because things are out of control? Now, that is, it's a big issue. Don't get me wrong, it's a big issue, and legally they have to find a way around it. Now, for me, FIFA obviously control. I'm sure it's FIFA who control the transfer windows globally. I could be wrong, but I believe it's FIFA who control the transfer windows globally. FIFA can move a transfer window. They say the transfer window for the 2020-21 season moves to 1 month after the 19-20 season concludes, whenever that may be. But what about the players' contracts? Now, for me, because of the situation we're in, I would hope that clubs and players could come to an agreement, especially those who are out of contract. Now, I know it's difficult, especially if you're not playing, and you owe nothing to the club in that regard. But if there's no transfer window for you to make a move, then maybe players and clubs can come to an agreement to extend the contract to the end of the season, whenever that may be. So if it's 7 months down the line, 7 months down the line. And that goes for everyone. Because you might have someone like, let's say, Willian, Nemanja Matic. I know he's actually, his clause is being extended, triggered as we speak. But just off the top of my head, someone like Willian, maybe even Giroud, I believe. If you are a first team player, but your contract's running out, the club are obviously going to want to extend it to the end of the season. But they should also be forced by FIFA to extend contracts of all those who contract runs out at the end of this year. So even if you're not a first team player, if you're not allowed to move because of the FIFA transfer window moving, the club should be forced to continue paying you for the season whenever it ends. I think that's the only way to do it. And I would hope that it will get a universal, at least not, if not a majority, from the footballing world. Because as I said, we're in trying times. We have to pull together. We have to find a way to make things as normal as possible. Of course, they're not normal, but we need to find a way, and we have to support everyone in doing this. In the same breath, the EFL have actually put together a £50 million package for all clubs in the EFL. Let me get that statement up. And they said, briefly they were saying that basically there's a short-term relief package which consists of 28.9 million, and a 21 million in an optional interest-free loan facility. So this is to assist with all clubs in the Football League. We know the Premier League is awash with money. That's not the case as you go lower and lower. Gate receipts, for example, is one thing that keeps a lot of those clubs running. Sponsorship isn't, through the roof. They've got staff, they've got players that need to be paid. There's a lot. Clubs could easily go under if, this relief package wasn't put in place. And it may seem little in the grand scheme when you're talking about football globally, but for a lot of these clubs, $1 million here or $1 million there is massive, massive money. So the EFL's put together that to ensure these clubs can, survive throughout this period. And I would hope that if it's extended longer and they needed more than that 50 million, that money will be provided, whether it's directly through the EFL, FA, or the Premier League would assist, because as much as the Premier League is its own entity, it needs the EFL, it needs the Football League, because that is what provides the whole pyramid structure of the promotion and relegation, the grassroots of the game. So yeah, it's trying times. We don't know. We really don't know. We're really playing it by ear, somewhat daily. What we do know is that there will be no football before April the 30th as a guarantee. I think we all knew that anyway, but that at least that has been, a pin has been stuck there, and no decision outside of that will be made. But there is intention for the 2019-20 season to continue, and I like the sound of that. Guys, let me know your comments, your views. What should happen to the season? At what point do we cut off if we do? Do you agree with, what the Premier League, FA and EFL have decided today? Leave your comments below, hit the like and subscribe button. Follow us on all the social medias. I'll see you soon.